It seems so easy lately, with all the chaos dominating our screens, to forget the darker things happening in the world around us. Things we cannot see, things that defy conventional explanation. Every time we turn on the TV, there is more destruction and distraction. And I have to ask, is this what they want? Is this a deliberate attempt to keep our eyes off the periphery, off the deep woods? Is this a carefully executed plan to divert focus from the unexplained, to ensure we don't get too close to the truth about what is truly happening behind the curtain, the truth about our reality, and what it truly contains? What powerful elites and government entities, the very ones we are taught to trust, don't want us to see? Why the consistent denial of strange disappearances in our wilderness areas? Today, we focus on the most unsettling of mysteries, the bizarre vanishings in our forests, the core phenomenon of missing 411. The families of the missing can never be distracted or lose focus. Never forget their loved one was there 1 minute and poof, gone the next. I'm David Paulides, and this is Mystery Rift. Walk with us once more as we explore the deepest depths, not just of the reality we see, but perhaps the hidden worlds of the unknown. We're going to touch on something very ancient, very primal, and very dangerous. When researching the Fae, or the little people of lore, and their connections to the globally documented disappearances, I felt an internal conviction. We are brushing up against something real, something that thins the veil between the known truth and the reality we are taught to believe. But heed this warning. We need to purge the images of the Fae we were fed as children, the cute, glittery, helpful little sprites of Disney films and storybooks. That is a dangerous, lethal fantasy. In reality, the Fae of legend are often described as nasty, unhelpful, and malicious. They possess ancient magic used to confuse, disorient, and lull humans to sleep so they can be stolen. Transported from here, the known, to the there, the unknown. It's not a harmless sprinkle of pixie dust. It's sudden confusion that spirals into relentless panic, where the unlucky victim finds themselves utterly lost. Dazed, bewildered, having no idea what just happened or where they are, often just yards from their campsite. Sometimes they are found days later, disoriented, and far outside the search grid, impossibly far. Sometimes they are gone forever, and these little people aren't always so little. While most are allegedly 4 feet or shorter, some are said to stand up to 7 feet tall, like the chilling descriptions of some shadow figures seen near disappearance sites. A range of entities, all with malicious intent. Let's talk correlations. In the cases I have documented across the world, the missing 411 clusters, there are distinct environmental factors that align perfectly with the unsettling lore of the Fae. First, boulder fields and stone circles. These fields of stone are known globally in folklore as Fae territory. They are where they live and play. You simply do not disturb the resting places of the Fae. Any perceived disrespect, whether intentional or not, and you risk a horrible fate, an ancient punishment you cannot comprehend. The Fae demand respect for their territory. Second, the berry patches. So many disappearances happen near berry patches, especially huckleberries. That sudden, inexplicable, almost magnetic urge to fill a basket with fresh, juicy fruit, that is likely the Fae luring you to your doom. The berry patches where they are known to dance and perhaps mate where they sing. Catch a glimpse of a dance or even a whispered tune, and you should immediately turn back. They do not like to be intruded upon. Third, weather events. Fae are nature spirits, elementals who manipulate the forces of nature, specifically water and storms. This is elemental magic at its purest and most malevolent. How often are search and rescue operations halted due to sudden, severe weather? If you're a Fae who just abducted someone, would you not use all your elemental power to prevent that person from being found? It's a tactical advantage afforded by nature itself. Fourth, the dogs refuse the trail. In countless missing 411 cases, highly trained search and rescue dogs simply refuse to take the scent, often whining or pulling away violently. They are terrified. Folklore is rife with examples of fae confusing and harming dogs, sometimes invisibly, as a cruel game. The dogs know better than us, sensing a non-human entity that they cannot fight, an entity that exists on a different frequency. These parameters, boulder fields, strange weather, water, and dogs acting terrified, they repeatedly form the terrifying geography of the missing. It's no longer a coincidence. It is a pattern, a checklist for the Fae realm. The Fae operate by strict, ancient rules of courtesy, or lack thereof. And their motivation for taking a person is often simple: utility. Who presents the greatest challenge? Who is most useful for their dark purposes? The first test, morality. The Fae often appear as a beggar in desperate need. Be kind and generous, and you might be blessed. Be unkind, cruel, or show contempt, and you face disastrous, otherworldly consequences. The second test, labor. The Fae may select you to help with a task, perhaps protecting their colony from a rival spirit. Accept and help, and you may receive gold or freedom from illness. Refuse, and you face profound madness. The third test, slavery and abduction. Some Fae races simply target specific people, often those with appealing energetic fields or those who are extremely intelligent. They may engage in a mental chess match, using the person as a morbid toy. They leech their life force until the person collapses into their most basic psychological form. This mental torture is the price for their perpetual imprisonment. I propose this. The disappearances are an interview process. Those who disappear for a short time and then return, often with no memory or an inability to speak of where they were being tested. If found to be physically, mentally, or spiritually useful, a greater challenge, perhaps they are magically pulled into the Fae realm, into a pocket dimension, never to be seen again. That is permanent abduction. Why are shoes often found? Simple. The Fae are notoriously clean. Shoes are dirty, especially after a chase. They are discarded, the final contact point with our plane of existence. And the random items of clothing? That's just a cruel, young Fae playing a wicked game, raising false hope in the search parties. They watch from the shadows, enjoying the ensuing human despair. Do not mistake their motives. They are not the cute, wish-granting sprites of fairy tales. They are bothersome, nasty, and their favorite pastime in the old days was abducting humans. Stalking their prey is something they take immense pleasure in. So, what is the countermeasure? What do we know about defending against these creatures who exist across dimensions, these ancient elemental beings? Iron. This is the one thing known across all cultures to repel the Fae. Always carry some form of unwrought iron, and make sure it is clearly visible in the deep woods. It disrupts their magic, their core essence. Crucially, never accept their hospitality. Do not dance, do not accept food, and do not let a Fae brush your hair. If you accept the gesture, you are automatically in the Fae realm, exposed and bound to them. You are their property. When you are in the woods, or even your own backyard, and you feel that sudden, inexplicable sense of confusion, that gut instinct that something is fundamentally wrong, would be extremely cautious. It is best to avoid any interaction entirely. Can we definitively say that Fae are the cause of the missing 411 phenomena? We can trace the parameters of almost every single case, the weather, the terrain, the dog behavior, straight back to their demonic past and their documented ways. As the researcher Charles Fort once wrote, "One measures a circle beginning anywhere. If nothing else, these Fae stories give us a focus, a terrifying yet strangely comforting explanation for the otherwise incomprehensible. That people do vanish without a trace, and perhaps the reason they cannot be found is because they aren't lost in our world anymore. Keep safe out there in the woods. I'm David Paulides, and I'll talk to you next time. Comment, like, and share.